Thank you very much, and I want to begin by thanking Maris as well as all the others who have put together this event. It's wonderful that there are so many people in Oxford interested in these things and willing to devote their energies to bringing about events of this sort. So I'm very grateful to participate in it. Well, at the risk of conforming to the comedian stereotype of what a philosopher is like, I'll begin by saying that I regard the most important word in the question that we're addressing as A, clearly. The A is normally the indefinite article, of course, but if its role in the question is really that of a definite article, and if the question is asking whether there is some theory uniquely deserving of this label that Maris has described, the label legal positivism, then I think clearly the answer is no. That is, I take there to be a number of importantly different theories that can correctly be described as legal positivism. They do have some things in common, but they're markedly divergent in a number of respects. And I don't see any reason for prioritizing some of these over others as better deserving of this title. So I think if the question is understood in the way that I initially suggested, that is asking whether there's some theory uniquely having a unique claim to the label of legal positivism, then the answer is no. But if the question is instead more sensibly asking whether there are theories developed by people who regard themselves as legal positivists and who put forward distinctive claims about law, then I think patently the answer is yes. And I'll just draw a few distinctions and then indicate briefly where I stand on some of these. One distinction is that between what we might call roughly, very roughly I have to say, descriptive and prescriptive varieties of positivism. So some people like Ronald Dworkin and David Deisenhouse and others think that the only genuine varieties of legal positivism are prescriptive. And certainly in the origins of legal positivism, that was the prominent dimension, the paramount dimension. That is, prescriptive positivism in a number of different senses, but I'll mention just two. One would be a prescriptive account of adjudication or legal decision-making generally, and prescribing that such decision-making should be based on certain factors, let's say non-moral factors, social factors, and should not be based on moral considerations, moral judgments of officials. That's one variety of prescriptive positivism, and again, that certainly has a long history within the tradition of positivist thinking about law. But another variety of prescriptive positivism, as I would classify it, would be an account that would expound the nature of law rather than prescribe how adjudication should proceed, but would justify its account of the nature of law by reference to moral considerations. And this is something which, to some degree, Hart does at the end of chapter 9 of the concept of law. More recently, it's certainly been undertaken by Fred Schauer, among others. So that's another variety of what I would call prescriptive positivism. Descriptive positivism, and again, I'm using this term loosely because any descriptive positivist is going to insist, along with John Finnis, that certain evaluative judgments are essential in constructing any theory, determining what is important and what the foci of one's analysis should be, and so forth. Evaluative judgments will be necessary there. However, a descriptive positivist will maintain that the evaluative judgments are theoretical explanatory judgments rather than moral judgments. And that's one divide among theories. Again, I don't see any reason for excluding some of the theories I've just described from the label of legal positivism. So I be inclined to say that these are all legal positivist theories in some sense, yet they're addressing very different questions. Some of the prescriptive theories I've mentioned are addressing questions concerning how legal officials should reach decisions, what sorts of factors should be the basis for their decision. And then the other varieties that I've described so far are addressing quite different questions about the nature of law and the characteristics of basic legal concepts. That's one. But another